the children of God, I'll just say, receive prophecy, and I can see them run around the church. I can see them roll around on the floor. And as a pastor, I could look at them and I could say in my head, they don't know what they're about to go through. Based on the depth of the word they just heard. And as for I know, the prophecy, in my opinion, is like a seed being impregnated. Even as a woman that's impregnated, she begins to stretch. She goes through a season of discomfort. And I don't want to go no more into that because I believe your book talks about the process after prophecy. Talk a little bit about that, because even maybe I feel in my spirit somebody's watching and wondering why the prophecy hasn't come to pass.
Absolutely. As it relates to a word of prophecy is just that, a word. It is a fragmentary part of a sentence. It does not reveal the entirety of the thought of the thinker. It only speaks a part of the sentence. And what prophecy does...
Wait a minute. So a prophecy is a piece.
It's a piece. It's a part. It's a fragment of the puzzle. And what prophecy does is give you just enough insight to give you hope, to know that where you're at is not your destination, that is just transportation to your destiny. And so the word of prophecy now comes to give a part, but prophecy will oftentimes leave out the process that you're going to have to endure to get to the manifested place of prophecy.
That's true.
Evangelist Perry, prophetess, spoke about Joseph. Joseph received the word of the Lord through a dream. The word of the Lord showed him what the expected end was going to be, but seemingly the next day everything went in the opposite direction. The word of the Lord comes and tells him that he's going to be in a seat of authority. He finds himself in a pit. He goes and reveals a kingdom word to carnal-minded people. And what cannot happen in this hour, you cannot reveal the secrets of God to carnal-minded people and expect them to celebrate what God is getting ready to do with and through you. Joseph goes into a pit, and there is some 20 years time, a 20-year span from the point of the releasing of the prophetic word through the dream to the place of manifestation. The thing that the book talks about is Joseph, the word of the Lord came to him, told him nothing about the pit, told him nothing about being a slave, told him nothing about being lied on and found in the middle of a scandal, told him nothing about being in the jail. It only showed him the expected end. But what I like about the mind of God is, had Joseph not been in the pit, he would have never been the slave. Had he never been a slave, he would have never got to Potiphar's house. Had he never got to Potiphar's house, he would have never ended up in the jail, which is the place where God calls him to meet the man that spoke one word that changed his very situation. And what is happening in this hour, God is sending prophets into our midst, Dr. Timms, that is going to speak one word that is going to change our very situation. And one word from the mouth of God is able to snatch you out of the jail that has held you bound, the jail that may look like God has forgotten about you, the jail that looks like God has forgotten his promises to you. And I know there may be somebody asking, well, God, you didn't tell me nothing about this. All you showed me was this part of the vision. And you're questioning, God, have you forgotten your word? God said to remind you that his word is sure and it must come to pass. The word of God says that his words are yea and they are amen. So if God said it, the word of the Lord tells us that as he's spoken it, there is a time for everything, but as he's spoken it, he's already completed it. And I'm prophetically declaring to somebody today that's in a place where it looks like God has forgotten about you, let me prophesy to you while you're still in the process. God has already done it. He's already fixed the vision. He's already made the way. He's already created what you've been looking for. It's already finished.
And the reason why you can say he's already made a way, he's already created a way, it is already finished, is because he wouldn't give you a prophecy about something he couldn't do.
Absolutely. He would not give you a prophecy not knowing what you would have to endure to get to the prophetic destiny.
Say that again. That is powerful.
So he would not give you a prophetic word. He would not give you insight not knowing what you would have to endure. So if God has given you the word of the Lord, he already knows what the process is going to be. And because he knows what the prophecy is going to be or what the process is going to be, he's already made the way of escape. So all you've got to do now is walk out the process. Find the doors that God has given. And here's what happens, Dr. Tim.
Yeah, slow down. I'm saying a lot. You got to find the doors that God has given.
Find the doors that God has given. And here's what he's done through the word of prophecy, through prophetic insight. He sets prophetic keys in our hand to the doors that he's already established. And what the church has been praying is, God, come and open the door for us. God, we're praying for the door to open. And God is saying, no, I've given you the key. You got to open the door. The key is set in your hand. I set the gift inside of you. And Ephesians 3:20 said, I heard someone quote it earlier, now unto him that is able to do the exceedingly. He's able to do the abundantly. That tells me God has the ability to supersede. But God's ability is locked up until I start asking and until my expectancy gets released and until the power of faith inside of me causes God's ability to be unleashed. And God said it's time for we, the people of God, to use the power, the key of faith that has been set inside of us to open the doors that he set before us.
Amen. I want to go back. I want to go back to this concept about if God gives us the word and then we go through the tribulation as part of the process of the word. I want everybody to understand that there's grace connected to the word.
Absolutely. There's grace
to endure.
Absolutely.
Grace to overcome.
Absolutely. And the process has a purpose. The word of the Lord would say the process has a purpose.
So whatever is happening,
it has a purpose.
The prison served a purpose.
Absolutely.
Potiphar's house served a purpose.
Absolutely.
The pit served a purpose.
Has an assignment.
So whatever is happening as part of the process to get me to the fulfillment of the prophecy, I have to, rather than complain, saying that it's serving part of the purpose to get me to the end result.
Absolutely. And what all it's really doing is working on our destiny's time clock. Should be the word of the Lord said, and we know tribulation worketh. In other words, my tribulation has a job to do. It cannot kill me, cannot destroy me. It has a job to do. And the purpose of my process is to work patience. The purpose of my process is to work experience. The purpose of my experience is to work hope. And hope maketh not ashamed. So God gives us the word, and then he allows this tribulation to cause us to endure the process, so that in the process we get the hope to know that if God gave me the word, he's going to see it through to completion.
Yeah.